Hi everyone, today we have a very exciting episode. This is our first ever audio and video podcast episode that we're releasing on And So the Story Goes. And for me personally, this is a really exciting episode because today as a guest we have my best friend here, Allison. Do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Hi guys, I'm Ali. I'm currently a senior at the U of R majoring CTS, and I studied abroad in Barcelona through the IES program in spring 2024.
Yeah. So as you guys know, I also went to Barcelona my junior spring, and we actually were both in the IES program and we lived together there. And overall, we just basically did abroad together. We went on all of our trips together. We had one class together, and overall, it's just a really great experience. But for this episode, we really want to talk about expectations versus reality that we had abroad. So that's just going to be like the theme of today's episode. And we have different bullet point topics we want to talk about before moving on to our reflection aspect. So the first topic we want to talk about is travel expectations versus reality. Okay, we have a really silly story we want to share with all of you guys. This is expectation. All of your travel days are going to be smooth sailing. You're going to make all of your flights, all of your trains, whatever. But in reality, that is not always the case.
Yeah, I think our first time where we missed a train or a flight was when we went to Valencia. We sort of thought it was just like any type of train where you just hop on the train and that's it.
Yeah.
But it was more like an airport system based thing, and we did not know that, so we ended up missing our train. And that was really unfortunate because obviously like we wanted to go to Valencia and like have a really cool time there, but that did not end up happening.
And I remember the morning that we woke up late, and then we were timing like arriving to the what was it, the terminal or like the train place, and we were gonna get there like 5 minutes before it left, and we were like, this is literally perfect, like we'll get on the train. But you have to like line up, and this is just an example of like maybe you're not always aware of what's happening. So I think being places early, if you're not really familiar with the system, is really important, because we did not do that.
But I also feel like when we decided to stay that weekend, we sort of got into like running and being able to explore Barcelona more, and I think that's something I definitely regret not doing. Although we did travel to so many places, I feel like it would have been nice if we stayed more of our weekends in Barcelona.
Yeah, just like stagger it out, because I think for a specific, it might have been March, we had a trip booked every single weekend, and I think it was really, really exciting to visit a bunch of different places, but maybe having like one weekend to travel, one you don't, and then the next two you do would have been like a good stagger.
Yeah,
because we were constantly going out and about.
Yeah, and I also think that ties down into like the expectations that we had for ourselves. Like we told ourselves that we would be traveling every weekend, but I think when you're studying abroad, you also have to take into account like that sometimes you're just gonna need to stay in your home base. You're gonna need to just self-reflect and just like walk around and like do nothing, and that's completely okay. Because I feel like on Instagram you're seeing like everyone traveling and you're like thinking to yourself, oh, I should also be doing this, but sometimes it's just okay to just stay in your home base and explore that.
Yeah, I really agree with that. Tying this back to our expectations about traveling, everything being smooth sailing, we actually had a really tough experience with travels.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. So our flight from Barcelona to JFK was booked at 10 a.m. I believe it was a Saturday morning. And we had stayed up late the night before. Yeah. We had not gotten to bed till pretty late, which caused us to forget to put our alarms on.
Or charge your phone. It just happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Which is really silly of us. But guess what? It happens. And we wake up. We woke up at 10 a.m. the morning of our flight. And I think our
flight was at 11:30 a.m.
Yeah, something like that. Like we woke up and there was just not enough time to get our stuff completely ready and to the airport and to the terminal and through security.
I don't even think we were fully packed. Like, we still had like miscellaneous stuff that we had to like put in our bags.
Very poor planning on our part.
Yeah.
But just relating this back to giving advice to other people, there's going to be situations where even if you're the best type A planner there is, things are not going to go your way, and that's okay. abroad really teaches you to plan and like be in the moment and figure it out as you go, because you're gonna find a solution.
Yeah, I also feel like it taught me to let go of situations that I cannot absolutely control sometimes.
Yes, and that's something I'm really bad at too. From
Yeah.
here, like I feel like I can stress out over little things that I can't really change.
Yeah. And I feel like missing our flight to America really like finalized that lesson for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the day, obviously, when we're leaving, like it was
Yeah.
the last little lesson we were taught.
Yeah, and I'm really glad because even
Yeah.
though like we did lose a lot of money,
Yeah, we
like
lost a lot of money.
that lesson is like engraved in my brain now.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, for purposes of wanting to give you guys good travel places that we really enjoyed, we're going to rate places that we went to together, because I feel like if I was a student going into my abroad experience, I would want to know what people really loved and would 100% recommend somewhere to go to versus others maybe not so much. And I'm going to start with my top place. I would say Morocco was absolutely my favorite trip overall. I feel like a lot of the traveling that we were doing was going to very touristy places and very much cities and urban locations. So going to Morocco, where we were able to go to the Sahara Desert, go sandboarding, and ride camels, was really, really fun and a very good switch up. And to everyone I ever talked to that's going abroad in Europe / anywhere, I really recommend you to go. What was your first favorite place?
Morocco was definitely one of my favorites, and I honestly wish I did more like nature trips.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one advice I would take into account. Like, even before you study abroad, it's really hard to plan like what exact trips you're gonna do until you actually get there. But if you have somewhat of an idea of like what exactly you want to visit, whether it's like city type of trips or like seeing animals, being in the desert for 2 days, like it's really important to take that into consideration because it'll be a lot easier to plan. But as far as my favorite trip, Morocco was definitely one of those trips that I'll always have in my heart. I just loved being able to sleep in the desert. Like, who does that? Like, you never have the chance to do that. So that was really good. It was very cold, but at night.
It was very cold, but you get through it. And just going off of Ali's point, going back to just the location that you want to pick, I really, really recommend you pick it based off of your interest. Like, I talked to Carmen. She was the episode prior to this. She went to the Galapagos and Quito, Ecuador. She really enjoys hiking. She really enjoys the outdoors. It relates to her career goals. So, of course, she would pick Galapagos because it relates to her interest. Thinking about it for myself, I really like the beach. So, Barcelona was perfect. I really like restaurants, eating out. I love the food. The nightlife is also really fun. So just really cater it to what your interests are. And this can also relate to your travel plans and where you choose to go. Now for a second favorite place. I feel like I'm a little bit biased because this is the trip that we went to the weekend of my birthday. We went to Mallorca, which is a little island off the coast of the mainland of Spain. And it was actually one of those places where 100% I need to go again, even though I had already visited it. The water was beautiful, like actually beautiful. The island was amazing. What else did we do there?
We got the chance to run over there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I honestly feel like that's a very affordable way to explore whatever place you're visiting. I really enjoyed that. It was a little bit cold, but I really enjoyed just being able to explore and like go through like the main town. That was really fun.
We're also both avid runners, so we both did track in high school. I did cross country as well, and being in Barcelona really grounded us to focus on our physical well-being as well as your mental health. But we're also doing the half marathon together this coming April, so I'm really excited for that.
Being able to study in Barcelona really gave us the chance to take the time to take care of our bodies. And if you love to run, the boardwalk in Barcelona is a really nice way to just explore and just be able to be outside, especially because the weather's always nice there. And
there's always people running on that strip too. Like it's honestly so beautiful. For sunrise, sunset.
And like the motivation is there because everyone's a runner there. And the sunsets are amazing.
And I just felt like my best self. I was walking from class to class. So I was walking so much. I was getting my physical activity in. Me and Ali were going on runs in the afternoons. And it was just overall such a healthy way of living, I would say.
Yeah, it was. especially because we had a lot of time to be able to take care of ourselves. And I feel like that's really hard as a college student to do when you have like very like heavy classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so my second favorite place that we visited was Amsterdam.
Okay.
I really love the whole layout of Amsterdam, and I love the fact that everyone just bikes everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather was really good when we went there, so just being able to walk around and just explore so many restaurants, I don't know, I kind of felt like I was like in a little like fairy tale type of thing. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I also really liked Amsterdam, and one of our friends that we made abroad, Lena, one of her friends from home works and
lives there,
studies, works and lives there.
Mm-hmm.
So she like really took charge and like
she was our tour guide,
literally,
and
like
that felt really nice.
No, it was really nice because I didn't have to worry about like the research into where you're going, the places to go. Like she had it locked down for us.
Yeah,
so really grateful for that. Okay, my least favorite place that I don't regret going to this place, but I wouldn't necessarily go back immediately after going, would probably be Paris. Number one, I was really sick on that trip. Like it was just like a really bad cold, so I wasn't feeling my best, and then I was walking 15K steps a day, so definitely was not me in my prime.
Yeah,
but also Paris is just really rainy, cloudy, cold. We went in like April, right?
I think
it was
so,
pretty late in our abroad semester, but it was still really cold there. So I would really recommend, if you're gonna go, like go in the warmer months. And there was also scammers there, which wasn't that pleasant.
Yeah, it was definitely a surreal moment, just because like, oh my god, I'm here in Paris with my best friend. Like that was like really fun to like do. But I feel like honestly there wasn't a lot to do there.
Yeah.
Or maybe we might have like not done enough research.
Or maybe our interests don't align, because it was very much like you see the Eiffel Tower, you go to the Louvre. It's more like museum-y type stuff. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to topic 2, expectations versus reality. And for this, we're going to talk about creating and maintaining relationships. So for me, at least, I thought my expectation was going to be that I was going to meet a lot of different people and be best friends with them immediately, kind of like how freshman year of college is, but that wasn't necessarily the case. I think it was a little bit different. I think you have to be very intentional about making connections. At least in our program, IES Barcelona, a lot of people come in with their friends and their friend groups. So a lot of these people already know each other, and that wasn't exactly my favorite thing ever, because I did want to explore and meet a lot of new different people. What was your perspective on that, Ali?
I also had like the same expectation that I was going to form this huge group of like new girls that I was going to be friends with. But like you said, when you come into like a program where everybody's already friends with everybody, it's really hard to put yourself into that situation where like, hey, like let's do something. I think it's also really hard, especially if you guys don't see each other every single day. I feel like personally I made most of my connections in like my classes. I thought that was the easiest place, but I feel like if you guys have orientation week, being able to go to all those programs and putting yourself out there the minute you guys get there is really important.
Yeah. And just relating this back to all students, all programs are different.
Yeah.
There is third-party programs like IES, DIS, CIEE. There are exchange programs where you're directly enrolled in an institution. Everything is different, but I really want this advice to be applicable to everyone. No matter what your program is like, really put yourself out there, like Ali was saying. Go to all of the orientations that first week, because I really do believe that this is when everyone that wants to make new connections and wants to make new friends are really putting themselves out there. So go to all those things. If I could go back in time, I would have attended all of those things, which we didn't really do. We did make friends, but we had to put a little bit more work into it.
Yeah. And I feel like the reality of the situation is it really gave me a different perspective on the idea of friendship. I think most of it was just like a lot of small talk and acquaintances, which I had to learn to be okay with, and learn that I'm going to meet so many new people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But
another thing to add off of that is, like, let's say you're making friends with other abroad students. A lot of them might not be from your state or from the same area as you. So I feel like that can be a little bit more difficult. You really have to be intentional with your time and making connections because you want it to be something authentic where you're investing in each other's friendship. So even at the end of the 4 months when the abroad experience is over, even if you guys are across coast, you guys still maintain a connection because you lived through so many experiences together. So I think just overall advice is put yourself out there and be intentional with your connections and be authentic. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the outro, the reflection aspect of our abroad experience, and how it really helped us grow overall.
Yeah, I feel like for me at the very beginning, it was a little hard for me to adjust to living abroad, especially because I feel like back at here at the U of R, I was programmed to just constantly keep on doing stuff and staying productive. But as soon as I got there, it was like, oh, I don't have to do all these things, and maybe all I have to do is just enjoy the present. So I feel like taking the time to be able to do that is really important because at the end of the day, I feel like what I got from study abroad was just learning how to enjoy things for what they are and not having to do everything as a task.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay, I think for me, I had a similar type of lesson. I talked about this a little bit in my episode that we recorded. Go watch that if you haven't. But basically, as a student at U of R, even before I came to college, I tend to stress over things that I cannot control. It's in my nature, but I think abroad really taught me to get out of that little box of thinking that even if something is not going the way you want it to or the way you expect it to, it's okay, and to only focus on the things that you can solve. There is always a solution. And that's something that I have to remind myself because I can feel myself reverting back to my anxiety little self before abroad. And I really would not have traded my abroad experience for the world. I think everybody that is interested in studying abroad should just go and do it.
Yeah, and I feel like it definitely sounds easier said than done to be able to do all those things. But when you're constantly given these lessons, like, over and over again, I feel like you get it engraved into your head like, hey, maybe I should take a moment to just embrace what I have here, or hey, like maybe like this isn't a situation that I can control, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So I also just learned that the universe always has your back in any aspect of your life, and it's also really hard to just like ingrain that into your brain and be like, yeah, like sometimes I just gotta trust myself and like what I'm gonna be doing, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I just want to give a little bit of advice to first gen students because we both are, but I really recommend you reach out to all of your resources. Before college, in high school, and in my life, I've really learned to reach out to people who know more than I do. I was guided through my college application process through someone who had experience, and I think the same thing applies to studying abroad. It can be really daunting to apply to a program that maybe you don't know anyone who's been part of it. For a lot of people, visiting and traveling to a place you've never been to before. So I would really recommend reaching out to the center. They're really, really great with student outreach. You can make appointments with Aurelia, Rohan, to name a few, and they will really help you. Even if you're in the brainstorm aspects, I work as a student ambassador, as you guys know, in the CEA office, and I've really seen the ins and outs of the study abroad office, and they really will sit down with you and brainstorm. If you don't even know where you want to go, but you know that you want to go abroad and spend a semester or a summer elsewhere. So I really recommend you use all of your resources. The office also has a bunch of outreach events that they do. We have treats and travel tips with student ambassadors where you can come and talk to us once a month and just have any questions about studying abroad. So I really recommend you use your resources as an advice.
Preach.
Preach.
That was very well said.
Yes. I also love working at office. Like, that's another thing that abroad has given me. I didn't even know about this position before I studied abroad, but I've worked firsthand with a lot of students who are interested in studying abroad and who are preparing to leave, and it's been very like fulfilling. It's
And I feel like the whole idea of study abroad at first sounds really complicated and scary. I remember like our application process, like at times like we were stressing out, but like coming to like this office and being like, hey, like I need you to help me with this, like they were always there for you for that.
Don't try to do everything yourself, because this is your first time going through it. You don't know everything, but coming into the office, that's okay. But coming into the office where people have done these applications thousands of times, that's really going to help you. Okay, guys, so with that, we are going to wrap up today's episode. I want to give a big thanks to my bestie, Ali. For coming on today's episode and giving us her perspective about her abroad experience as well as mine, because I feel like it's incomplete if I talk about it without her, because we both have a lot of things to add. So yeah, Ali's gonna provide her email in case anyone wants to reach out to her and ask her any questions about her experience.
Yeah, so if you ever want to reach out, my email is atorresm@urochester.edu. Yay! I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and study abroad.
Study abroad.
Study abroad. Yay. Bye-bye.